Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. How are we all doing on this Tuesday morning? This is Reganelite here. Hello, everyone. How are you guys doing? Hope you guys are all doing well. Hope you guys are coping with the storm. Some of you guys may be still right in the heart of it. Some of you guys maybe just be feeling it. Some guys may even be calm where it is, depending on where you are in the UK. But we will come to the storm when we get to the weather forecast, of course. But for those who are new here, welcome to Good Morning with Reganelite here. What I normally do for this live stream, if you're new here, we go about an hour long up till 12 o'clock and we look at today's daily quote. We have a look at see what the weather has been forecast. We look at the world, then we look a bit around the world, then we have a look at a bit of Europe, and then we have a look mainly at the UK for the next couple of days. And then we have a look at whatever the news is basically talking about. So we go to websites and we have a look at see what the headlines and stories that they have for us, and we share our thoughts about them both in the comments and I share mine too. Today we're going to be looking at UK news specifically. Some of the news that are obviously, if you guys didn't miss it, I did. I have timestamped last night's live stream, The Viewpoint. So if you guys haven't seen that, do check that out as well. I also want to remind people as well, later on today at 4 o'clock, I'll be doing the live stream of global news, coming very close to that 100th episode, guys. So if you're not doing anything later on today at 4 o'clock, if you want to join me for some news outside the UK, we don't always do Donald Trump and America, but we will. I'm sure we'll cover some of that as well. Join me for that there. I always find that one to be very fascinating, stories that you don't really know about and things about in other countries that you don't always hear. So if you're interested in any of that at all, you can join me for that show as well. Hello, Mutty Von Eric. Hope you are doing well there. Right for Scott, one of our moderators. Good to see you there. Hope you're doing well. Scott Hayes in the Albany. Good morning to you. Sarah Davis and Christina. Good morning to you and anybody else who's lurking in the chat. We're also live on youtube.com/Reganelite as well as twitch.tv/Reganelite1 for reference there as well. All right, let's get started, shall we, guys? So here we are. Here is today's daily quote. Looks like the camera's been all right today, guys. But I am looking at new cameras already. Whether I haven't ordered one yet, but I am looking at them. So here is today's one from Mary and Radmancha, and it goes as the following: courage doesn't always roar. Sometimes courage is the quiet voice at the end of the day saying, I will try again tomorrow. So let me repeat that again. Courage doesn't always roar. Sometimes courage is the quiet voice at the end of the day saying, I will try again tomorrow. That's a really nice one. That's a nice one. I like that one. Hope you guys like that one too. Tomorrow's one's a nice one too. Tomorrow's one's a very nice one too. We'll definitely looking forward to sharing tomorrow's one with you guys as well. Peach Music, good to see you there. And Peter, good to see you both. Hope you guys are doing well. Right, let's have a look at the weather, guys, because definitely some cause for concern out there for some of us there. I hope everyone is okay. Generally mean that. Hopefully it's not too bad in some parts of where you are. But here we are, guys, taking us to the bbc.co.uk/weather map. For reference, link is in the description if you guys want to use it yourself. It's been set at today, Tuesday, at 6 o'clock, just as an added reference there as well. Yes, our big, beautiful planet right now. Plenty of snowstorms, plenty of rainstorms, and the usual dry spots in between on our planet. Zooming in a little bit here. Have a look at the North America here. We can see Yellowknife 29, Anchorage -12, Vancouver 7, San Francisco 12, New York a very chilly 7, Ottawa -12 there. So it looks like, yeah, the snowstorm has subsided there, but it's still obviously very, very cold in that part of America there. Chicago -12, Nashville -1 there. New Orleans 6, Miami not as warm, 18 degrees there as well. San Diego 17, Mexico City 18 there, respectfully there. You can see Southern America, continent South America there. Their temperatures roughly around about the same, 28, 29 degrees, 27 there, with some warm climates, tropical climates as you expect, as well as their fair share of rain storms as well there, as you can see. Not so much dry spells again on the continent of Africa, central and southern there. Temperatures are around 28, 24, 22, Lagos 29 respectfully there. going straight across onto the other side of the world, in Auckland, New Zealand, 17 degrees, Sydney 19, Perth 17, and Darwin at 27 degrees. There in the Philippines, there we have at 25 degrees, very nice and warm there. Stark contrast to in Tokyo, Japan at 2 degrees, even colder in Beijing at -5. New Delhi there at 13 there, Riyadh 17, Tehran 6 there respectfully. We got Iceland up there at a nice chilly 4 degrees as well. Zooming in to have a look at what's happening in Europe for reference here. We've got this storm that we are experiencing. As you can see, it's coming all the way over, not just been hitting us, but it's also been hitting parts of Europe there we can see as well. So Madrid 7, Lisbon 11 degrees. There, so definitely some snow and rainstorms in parts of Spain and Portugal there. Most of southern France, they're also experiencing their fair share of rain and snow there as well. Down in Nice as well, 11 degrees there. You can see plenty of snow, and definitely around the Swiss Alps there, Bern at 2 degrees there. Fair share of rain and snow there. Rome 11 degrees, Parmelo 10, Tunis on the North African continent 15, Tripoli 15 there respectfully as well. And cross over a bit more further to the east of Europe, we've got Athens at 14, Istanbul at 12, Ataria at 10. Not too bad temperatures considering other parts of Eastern Europe you can see there. Ellie, good morning to you. Hope you are doing well. And then we got Bucharest 3, Chistu 0, then Zagreb 4, Vienna 2, Prague 0, Berlin -2, Warsaw -1. Kiev a very cold -4 there. And we can see this big, sharp snowstorm, which is covering all over Moscow there at -5 degrees there. There as well. St. Petersburg -12 there. Some of the temperatures there. Even colder, obviously, the further east you go into Europe there. Zoom. There we go. Paris and Brussels 6 and 8 degrees respectively here. So if I just switch it all the way back to this is what it looks like right now. This is what this is what it looks like within the next hour or so. Is what we should be. So the majority of you should be either experiencing the rainstorms or probably getting it coming in and out also. If I literally look out my window, yep, it's still gashing down with rain out here. It's still gashing down with rain out here. So we can see those temperatures right now, guys, at 10, 8, 7, 9, 7 at 4 degrees there. So there is a blistering amount of rain. Please take precautions doing so. I was absolutely paranoid about my partner getting to the bus stop, but she got there all right, to be fair. You know, but she got there and got to work all right. I get paranoid about those storms like that, but she got to work all right, which is the most important thing for me. Yeah, just be careful out there. But a bit later on, guys, it's going to move a little bit further out. And a bit later on today, this is what we're forecast later on today at 6 o'clock here. So most of it would have cleared up. It'd be a bit more dry. Parts of northern Scotland, though, will still experience it there. But the rest, southern Scotland, most of England and Wales and Northern Ireland, they'll obviously subside by then. So it won't be too pragmatic there. But you can still see in the Highlands there'll be plenty of snow and rain there as well. There's still going to be showers of snow, rain here in quite here as well. Yeah, wind unpleasant. You can see by the wind gauges there. Edinburgh there, next to Edinburgh's 4 degrees temperatures is the wind of how fast it'll be fast there. So you can see those winds are going to be very, very strong there because of where you are. So yeah, that's going to be frustrating to say the least. Going into late into the evening and overnight here, it will slowly dissipate there, and we'll actually have a bit of a calm night. Temperatures are going to be very cold though. We can see these temperatures overnight for the next day into early Wednesday morning here. Very cold temperatures all around here, but not too much rain. Not too much rain forecast anyway. So it'll be a dry. It should be a dry night, but it'll obviously be very, very cold. Going into Wednesday morning here, we can see those temperatures. Some of them drop even further before they go back up again later on in the day there. But you can see those temperatures. Most of Wednesday looks like it'll be a dry day, as we kind of looked at yesterday there. We can see there. Parts of Wales are going to be experiencing some rain, with some parts of Scotland as well. Ireland going to be getting a fair share. Northern Ireland might be getting a dry day today from the looks of it. Possibly there. Temperatures at 9 degrees maximum. Edinburgh lowest at 6 degrees there from the looks of it there. But looking into later on later on in that day. There is some high snowfall expected to fall on the Highlands there, as well as still some rain and showers in parts of Scotland are going to be forecast. Some parts, but most of the country, as well as most of the rest of the UK, will be experiencing mainly dry spells tomorrow, which is a good sign. Moving into Wednesday, tomorrow evening, into the next day there is some bits of showers here and there, but most of it will be dry. Even overnight, the temperatures are still going to be very cold, again, as we expect. Yeah, as I said, it's windy right now. Yeah, as I said, yeah, it's windy right now. Is it windy right now, Reganelite? Where I am, I think it's died down a little bit. It was very, very windy in the early morning. I know because we could hear it from our window, and when my partner left, I could hear that howling wind. So it's not as bad as it was earlier. But I do plan to go out in a bit later on anyway. So I don't think it'll be too bad when I go out, to be fair. There. Overnight, Wednesday night into Thursday morning there. Temperatures are roughly around about the same. Still going to be very cold, of course. Excuse me. But we've got some high patches of snow in the Highlands of Scotland. But most of the UK is going to be experiencing some dry spells, which is nice. There, a nice change. Like I said, Wednesday, Thursday, mainly some dry spells there. There is some showers in the backdrop of parts of Ireland and maybe on the southwest of England there. Moving a bit further on into Thursday there. Thursday evening, there is going to be looks like this rainstorms looks like going to be coming in as well. It looks like there's going to be one coming as well from the north there. Looks like nope. Overnight on Thursday night into Friday night here, we can see some of that showers there. It's going to hit parts of small patches of snow possibly in parts of England and southern Scotland. Small patches perhaps might get a bit of snow, but chances of it settling is very unlikely here. You can see there's quite this snowstorm out on the ocean there as well. Moving a bit more into Friday lunchtime here. Again, more snow expected around the Highlands there of Scotland. Some patches apparently in parts of southern Scotland as well as a few showers here and there. Temperatures increasing a little bit, and I say a little bit. London, Cardiff, a 9-8, Dublin 9, Belfast 7, Manchester 6, and Edinburgh 4 there. As we head towards the weekend there is still some showers going to be dropping, but most parts of the UK are still going to be dry from Wednesday after this storm. So, there from the looks of it. But going into Saturday here, again, will be some shower spots here and there, but not too bad to be fair. Looks like this overnight it's not going to be as cold as other ones, I would say. Here, I take that back. It looks still going to be very cold, to be fair. Saturday lunchtime, they're expecting a few patches, but most of the UK is going to be kind of dry. So that looks pretty good for a Saturday. Yeah, there'll be a few spots of showers here and there, but most of it will be all right. Looks like there is going to be this rainstorm going to be coming in on Saturday night, though. For Saturday overnight into Sunday there. Yeah, so it looks like we're going to be getting this rainstorm coming in here from Saturday night into Sunday here, overnight here. Sunday morning, again, more snow expected in the Highlands there, as well as this rainstorm. That's going to pretty much go straight over. And is Sunday going to be mainly a dry day? It looks like most of the UK, except with the exception of Wales. Wales is going to experience some rain and snow from the looks of it there on Sunday, guys. That's what they're forecasting there, looks like. Interesting. Well, we'll have to keep an eye on that, obviously, for the weekend. But it looks like after this storm passes today, guys, most of the UK is going to experience some dry spells. So most of Wednesday, most of Thursday, you'll be experiencing mainly dry. You may get a few spots of showers here and there, depending on where you are. So it's just a case of just seeing out this storm. It will clear up mainly, depending. If you're in Scotland, it won't clear up until the next day, really, I would say. I mean, even late at 9 o'clock, there'll be parts of Scotland, the northern parts, northeast of Scotland, I would say. If you're living in that part, that storm will still be there. So, but if you're like in the Glasgow, Edinburgh areas, a bit more or further south of Scotland, you'll probably be probably be clear by the time. I would say around about from 6 o'clock onwards. I would say was what the forecast is looking like here. Rest of the UK will be clear of it by late afternoon / evening there. So yeah, and then the next few days you might get a few spots of showers, but most of it will be dry. So that's kind of the weather forecast for today, guys. We'll see how it looks tomorrow. Okay, guys, let's have a look at some of the news from the UK. We're going to be looking at UK news specifically today for the rest of this stream. The wind chills is quite unpleasant since PA. Yeah, cold temperatures and cold wind. That's not very good. Yeah, it's very that's very not nice indeed. Not nice indeed. However, also I don't want to be cooked up in the house as well. It's not good for my health. I will just let people know as well. I have, before we continue, I have recorded Rumble videos this morning. They will be out over the next week. I will put a post up at some point today. All the Patreon and Rumble videos coming out this week. You may have noticed that I also put up additional Patreon and Rumble videos over the weekend as well. So I don't know if I'll continue to do that, but if I make time for it, I will do. There was something else that I was meant to tell you guys, and I can't remember what it was as well. Brain's gone. If I remember it, I'll say it. Let's go to the Telegraph. Hopefully it'll spring back up on me. There was something else I was supposed to tell you guys, and I've totally forgotten what it is. Oh yes, that's it. My memory came back. So the Speaking My Mind series, I have not recorded any Speaking My Mind series yet, guys. I will try to record some either either Wednesday or Thursday. I won't be able to record any today. No promises that I'll be able to, because normally I do a backlog of them, and the last one was Friday, so there may not be a Speaking My Mind episode dropping on Friday because not Friday, on Saturday, because I haven't recorded any yet. So that is on my to-do list this week, just for reference. Right, so the Tory graph, the Telegraph, the Reform graph, the Bollocks graph, whatever graph you want to call it, just not a very fair and balanced graph, but you can take that as you will. Let's see what they've got here. The front storm, travel chaos as storm. Chandra brings flooding and snow. Crap name, could have come up with something better. 50 Labour rebels protest against Burnham's ban. 50 Labour rebels is not bad, but again, the problem is it's like there's over 400 Labour MPs, so that's not going to do anything. And it's not like they're going to resign their positions or anything. Like 50 is a big number, but again, it's like over 400. There's like still over 400 Labour MPs, so it's not gonna budge Keir Starmer and the NEC in any way, shape, or form. Carol Coke leaves BBC, spend more time with husband. Suella Braverman exclusive from the Telegraph. The Tories should not be anywhere near power again in my lifetime. That's right. The people who are in power, the politicians, she's absolutely right, guys. The Conservatives, those same Conservatives who were MPs, who were ministers, who were Home Secretaries, they should never be in power, guys, ever again. She's absolutely right. We've got to make sure that those same politicians who were in power before should never have that power ever again. Which is why you should vote for reforms, because you'll end up having the same politicians in power just like you did before. And what could possibly go wrong this time around? It's absolutely insane. We do not have to choose between the US and China, says Starmer. I agree. You shouldn't have to choose between the two. You shouldn't have to. Energy industry faces collapse over Miliband's delusional net zero plans. This is the Telegraph and their anti-climate lobbying group. The desperate to undermine anything related to the green energy plan. China hacked Downing Street phones for years. Oh, great. Did they? Oh, well, I suppose the super embassy will be perfectly fine that we're definitely going to be built, that we definitely approve, guys. What could possibly go wrong with that, with the super embassy that we've approved? What other insane stories have we got, guys? Or any realistic stories? Robots and AI to catch lung cancer earlier, apparently. That's a good thing. We want to catch lung cancer the sooner the better. Child in hospital after London house fire. Absolutely terrible there. Starmer mocks Macron as he dons sunglasses at a comedy show. Yeah, I saw a little bit of that. I was like, I don't know why Like, apparently it's a he's put out a TikTok video of it. It's Keir Starmer on his TikTok. Yeah, I know. I only saw like a tiny little fraction of it, to be fair. Red tape could sink Royal Navy's ability to keep up with China. I didn't even realise we were on our British Army was on the same level as China, but hey ho. Reeve supports support for pubs set to be temporary. Decorated a police officer killed himself after witch hunting inquiry hears as well. US faces Chagos Island's nuclear weapons ban. No, they don't need nuclear weapons on the island. What the hell do they need nuclear weapons on there for? UK loses measles elimination status as vaccine rates fall. Palestinian refugees present national security risk. Palestinian refugees are a national security risk. Based on what? Oh, because they're Palestinians. Based on what? It's pure. That headline just sounds pure racist. Palestinian refugees are a national security risk, guys. You heard it here from the Telegraph. Absolutely insane. Just ridiculous. Could they not make up more bollocks, really? Like, would that? I wonder how they would feel if someone put a headline of Israelis are a national security risk. There'd be outrage everywhere. But when it comes to Palestinians, nothing but silence. User, good to see you there. Hope you are doing well. And you, Mel, hope you guys are both doing well. Vote reform, get the Tories under Putin's control. Yeah. Well, Putin was going to control them one way or another. It just depends. It doesn't matter which party. Backlash over a pathetic Tory mental health jibe at Suella Braverman. Yeah, I don't... Look, I'm just going to say this here. I don't know if there's any realism in the mental health jibe at Suella Braverman. I don't know if there's anything to that. Was it helpful to the Conservatives? I don't think, I don't know if she has a mental health problem or whatnot. I'm not going to speculate on that. But I don't think that was... considering that the UK right now has a serious mental health crisis, I don't think it's helpful to be using it as jabs on politicians right now. There's a lot of MPs who are in the stick who do suffer from mental health. That some of them that are public, some are not. I'm not knowing. There are some, mental health, as we all know, is a very serious thing, and I don't like it being politicized, shall we say, to take jabs at politicians. I think that's wrong here. You can throw jabs and all that kind of stuff, but I'm not comfortable about using the mental health jab. I don't like that. I don't think that's a good thing to be doing, because there's lots of people out there with very serious mental health issues. Personally. Burnham's by-election decision done and dusted, insists minister. Yep, it's not gonna. Nothing else is gonna change on that. You might as well move on. No point kicking off about it. Starmer caps ground rents at £250 after MPs threaten a rebellion. I need to read more into that before I comment on it. Chinese hackers targeted top UK officials. What a surprise! French watchdog tells police stop using force on migrants. Okay, well then, stop paying the French money then, is my response. Stop paying them so much money there. A police chatbot could free up to equivalent 3,000 officers. Kind of talked a bit about that yesterday. Police and officials row over Mahmoud's timeline of Maccabee fans. Shut the hell up about that story and move on, is all I have to say about that. UK unemployment is on the rise. UK's unemployment rate for 16 to 64-year-olds apparently at 5.1% is what we're at in terms of unemployment rates. The last time we had that was back in roughly around about January 2021 at 5, roughly around about those figures there. So the unemployment rate has slowly increased pretty much at the start of last year, 2024 there. So it was, obviously it's sky high after COVID, obviously, which is what I expect to. The Conservatives did bring it down, the unemployment rate. They did bring it down there, but it's not the end, is what I will say. 5.1%. It could be a lot worse. It does need to be work on that as well. Tories plan to run down the clock on Chagos deal. Rees to announce £300 billion bailout for pubs. Reforms 4 billion tax cuts impossible without hitting public services there in Scotland. Yep. Yeah, because that's the thing. What are you going to be cutting to make that there? What else we got here? Is Farage on a mission to make populism less popular? Starmer's facing revolt. Ministers pressed to end gas contracts tied to Russia. Why have we still got contracts with the Russian government? Answers on the postcard, please. Starmer hesitant to ban apps for under 16 due to his kids, apparently. Prime Minister has told MPs that he thinks social media apps such as Instagram and add educational value to his teenagers' lives. Well, the problem is you can't pick and choose the stories that you want. That they decide it. The companies the algorithm decides it. You don't decide it. That's the thing. If you want to decide it, build your own social media app. Is the message I have there. Yeah, David was already talking about that. That's why I didn't touch any more on it than I needed to. UK caps ground rents paid to freeholders. Limits will be set at £250 a year after Keir Starmer overall Rachel Reeves to push through manifesto promised there. Government plans to tighten scrutiny of Chinese influence in the UK. So Keir Starmer seeks to bolster registration schemes while deepening Singo-British relations there. Tories the sequel. Starmer's plans to use defections to attack Reform UK. New Labour campaign will remind voters that it's mostly former Conservative ministers jumping ship to Nigel Farage's party. That's what you need to hammer into the heads of a lot of Reform voters. Like, they think Nigel Farage is their God-given saviour and everything. You have to tell them that Nigel Farage can't run everything. He has to have people around him to run a government. It's not a one-man band. You know, like, it's not like, it's not like he can't, like, not... He can't be in the room every single time these ministers make a decision. He has to let them do the job. Otherwise government won't function. So you're going to have the same people that you've already had in the Conservative Party. This message needs to be stuck very, very clearly to people. Very, very clearly to people. Reform in ferocious battle with council officers over pension cuts, says Tice. Party's deputy leader warns planned reductions in contributions risk being too cautious. UK launches £20 million fund for military tech startups. Defence Secretary John Henley wants to help small and medium-sized defence companies win government contracts. What kind of defence companies? Ones with links to Israel? Answers on a postcard, please. Rosemary, good to see you there. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for that coffee yesterday you sent me. Appreciate that. Football regulator vows to look very closely at debt-funded takeovers. Watchdog is seeking financial information from clubs for first State of the Game report due next year. And UK shop price inflation rises to its highest level in nearly 2 years. Oh, God, something just got into my eye. Cost of meat, fish, and fruit jumps in January as the highest energy charges and taxes spread through the economy there as well. And then they got some in-depth pieces there. Let's have a look at the front of the FT here, see what they're saying. US links security guarantees for Ukraine for peace deal citing territory. So exclusive here. Washington signaled Kiev will receive more backing after withdrawal from the Donbass, says people familiar with the talks. How NATO is preparing for war in the Arctic. Interesting. Russian military base sea route. Okay. Well, it certainly would be interesting. It certainly is very, very interesting indeed. What else they got here? How a killing on East Street forced Trump to change course. Yes, Donald Trump is actually... it looks like they're changing tack after the latest ICE shooting over the weekend, guys. We'll touch a little bit on that on Global News later on today, which is a positive thing. UK needs far faster EV charge rollout to hit 2030 demand. It's not slow. It's too slow. It's not fast enough. EU and India seal a trade pact. Trump to raise tariffs on South Korea to 25%. Based on what? Why? What's South Korea done to deserve that? Israel to seek a new security deal from the US, officials said. Netanyahu's government hosts anti-Semitism conference with European far right. Yeah, because Israel doesn't have enough money from the US, and they need more money, guys. They need more money from their sugar daddy. UK politicians call for a competition review of Netflix bid for Warner Brothers. Well, don't get me. What exactly are UK politicians going to do? It's over in America. I'm not sure what the UK can do from our perspective, to be fair. China's Anta Sports agrees to buy 1.5 billion stake in Puma from Pinot family there. Michael Bloomberg tops up climate spending to beyond £3 billion there. And then the rest there are opinion deals. So some of the stories there from the Financial Times there. Let's have a look at the Independent here and see what they're saying today. Shamima Mohammed defends rollout of live facial recognition to all police forces. The argument that she will have to people who have privacy concerns and whatnot, her argument is, well, if you haven't broken the law, you've got nothing to worry about. Like, that's it. You know, trust us. Trust the government. This is literally the message. Trust your police force. This is literally the message coming out from her. Billy Kershaw, good to see you. I hope you're doing well. Tories forced to retract Braverman's mental health claim. Good. I agree with this. Suella Braverman said the reference to her mental health said more about them than it does about me. Yeah. The Conservative Party have been forced to retract a statement making claims about Suella Braverman's mental health after a dramatic defection to reform following criticism of politicians and charities. Yes. The former Home Secretary was unveiled. But soon after the defection, initial response issued by the Conservative Party included the sentence, the Conservatives did all we could to look after Suella's mental health, but she was very clearly unhappy. Yeah, this part here, like, this is not helpful. Yeah, I felt it was very, very, gutter politics. Yeah, I think the comments were, as reference to the cry from across political spectrum by mental health charities, forced by former party humiliation, retraction. I'm glad they retracted it, but yeah, it was, look, regardless of how you feel about Suella Braverman and how you feel about this part about Reform Russia and the Conservatives here, this is, I said it already before even reading into this, guys. They should never have said this to Conservatives. Like, do not use mental health as a political football in any way, shape, or form. Even on politicians, just don't go there. Like, it's very disrespectful and insulting to a lot of people who have very serious mental health issues. As I said, I thought it was just absolutely out of. I'm glad they retracted it, but I just wish they never did it in the first place. And it feeds into the narrative of just how out of touch the Conservatives are. And it plays in that kind of language, plays into Reform's hands as well. It really, really does. And Keir Starmer, if he wanted to tomorrow at PMQs, he could use it as a punching bag. Another punching bag to use on the Conservatives tomorrow. Manchester voters are furious. Fury over Labour's decision to block Burnham, apparently. Open goal, why readers think Brexit should define the next election. Thousands of homeowners left in limbo over a botched energy scheme. How young people feel about the under-16 social media ban? Well, they'll probably be against it, I imagine. They lied to me and destroyed my house. Thousands left in limbo over a botched energy scheme. Yeah, 300,000 homes are stuck in unsafe conditions facing massive bill. Yeah, we covered this. We covered this last week. Yeah, that story. That's the story we covered last week. I remember us talking about that. What about this one? Oh, it's your views, that one. I'm not interested in that. That's a video. It's 6 minutes long. Not going to watch that. Let's have a look at the front of UK. BBC considers using iPlayer to catch out license fee dodgers. Last year, over 100 million was lost due to license fee evasion. BBC exploring plans to use its data from its iPlayer platform to help identify households that are watching without a TV license. Under new proposals in development, people's online BBC accounts could be linked to their home address for the first time, giving TV licenses a new tool to track potential eviction, Sky News reports. Anyone who watches or records live television on any channel or streams programs on BBC iPlayer is legally required to hold a TV license, which currently costs around £174.50 a year. What a joke. An absolute joke. Corporation is responsible for collecting the fees and routinely sending targeted letters and emails to households it believes it should be paying but are not. Concessions exist for people aged 75 or over who receive pension credit, blind viewers, residents for quality care homes who are disabled over 60s, and businesses offering overnight accommodation. Failure to pay for a TV license can lead to a fine for up to £1,000. A TV license spokesman said the organisation has always looked at ways to improve how we could collect the license fee. Additionally, this includes analysing available data to better understand how audiences use BBC service. Why are we not switching? Why are we still talking about license? Why are we not talking about switching to a subscription only and giving people an option to opt in and opt out of the BBC? Why are we not looking at this option? Why are we not looking at this option? There was discussions about this and I feel like it's dropped dead again. Why are we not talking about that? We should be talking about that. You know, people keep telling me to go and watch The Traitors. Well, I don't have BBC iPlayer. I don't pay for the BBC license fee here. So I'm not going to... Police officers left with Fioma of police station sues the Met for £1 million. Flooded, where Storm Chanya flooded could hit with danger to life warning there. YouTuber wins £3 million payout after savage beating outside Harrods. British-based YouTube critic of the Saudi royal family has been awarded more than £3 million in compensation after his phone was hacked and he was subject to physical assault outside Harrods in London. A satirist and activist sustained eye injuries in August 2018 when he was followed in Knightsbridge and attacked by two men. He accused him of being a slave to Qatar. His YouTube videos have garnered almost 350 million views, subsequently sued. The alleged that the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and its agents were responsible for the attack. He contended that the kingdom could not invoke state immunity to shield itself from the accountability for the assaults or for his phone being bugged through the covert installation of malicious spyware. Following a High Court hearing last week, Mr. Justice Stani entered a summary judgment in favour of Mr. Al-Masrani on Monday after the Saudis failed to submit a defence to the claims. Giving judgment, the judge said the Saudi kingdom stood no realistic prospect of defending the case and ordered a compensation payout of over $3 million. The KSA has a clear interest in and motivation to shut down the claimant's public criticism of the Saudi government, he said in the ruling. The High Court heard Mr. Ali Masrani, 45, was born in Saudi Arabia but moved to England in 2003 and was subsequently granted asylum in 2018. As a satirist, critic, and human rights activist, he built a huge following online with his videos, which satirised the Saudi royal family and exposes corruption in the country, achieving nearly 350 million views on YouTube. In his compensation claim, he said he had been the subject of a campaign of harassment and intrusive behaviour by the KSA, including the use of infected links to use malicious spyware known as Pegasus to hack his phone. It is the case of a result of a COVID deployment over on that spyware. Two of his mobile phones, the KSA of his agents gaining ongoing access to all the data communicated via and stored on them, said the judge. He said they were also able to track his location, intercept and record his calls, use his phone microphone to record him to use his phone cameras. Claimant said that this intrusive secret surveillance by the KSA or its agents touched every aspect of his private life. Claimant's evidence is that the discovery of his target by the KSA has had catastrophic personal consequences on him. I would have thought so. Has the Saudi government responded? I just want to see if the Saudi government has responded to this. I just want to see their... just seeing if he's saying anything here. Doesn't say the attack was unprovoked. No. There's no comment or response from the Saudi government. So what is this payout? Is this supposed to be coming from the Saudi government? How are you going to get the money? In all seriousness, like, what if they just say no? Like, what are you going to do if the Saudi government says no? Like, don't get me wrong. Like, happy he's won the payout, but it's like, is he actually going to get the money? Like, I'm very skeptical of him getting that. Very, very skeptical. NHS trials AI and robotics technology to spot lung cancer. Why GCSE students are studying the authors of colour is essential in 2026. Morale plummeting among ICE agents over long hours, quotas, and public hatred, according to reports. Good. Glad to hear that. US warns it will send fighter jets into Canadian airspace if F-35 deal fails, apparently. Ex-FIFA president joins those calling for the boycott of the World Cup in the United States. Yes, guys, the former FIFA president is actually calling for a boycott of it. Venezuela's acting leader says he's had enough of US orders. Okay, well, they'll kidnap you then. They can kidnap you if they want to. They can. They shouldn't, but they can. Let's have a look and see what else is going on in the news. Reform is just angry that the Tories thought of it first. It's going to soon be over £180 a year, says Sarah Davis. Right, let's have a look at the iPaper. Just a reminder, guys, while I'm currently demonetized, if you want to financially support me in any way, you can do so by either buying me a coffee or joining Patreon. Links for both of them are in the description. It'd be greatly appreciated if you can. What else we got here? Let's see what the iPaper is saying. Tories weaponise Braverman's mental health as more defections loom. Yeah. You know, the recent comments by Kemi Badenoch after what happened with Robert Jenrick, of her basically saying, stick with me, or like stop defecting, or sort of thing, like get behind me sort of thing, feels like it's just dropped dead, because like Suella Braverman literally defecting after it feels like yeah, screw you, like nobody cares what you have to say sort of thing. Despite the fact the polls are slowly turning a little bit to Conservatives, I'm generally curious to see what the polls will be indicating now with Jenrick and Suella now defecting. Like, will there be actually a change in the perception of the Conservatives? Are more people going to turn away from the Conservatives to reform Russia back to the Conservatives? I'm generally curious there. The PLP are pissed. Labour infighting poses new threat to Starmer. Yeah, we talked about that yesterday. Starmer courting dictatorship with China visits appears sanctioned by Beijing. Exclusive there. The jobs at B&M and TUI, young people are set to be offered or risk losing their benefits. Risk losing their benefits, not will lose their benefits. Risk losing their benefits. Police to be forced to arrive at crime scene within 15 minutes in a major shake-up. We'll see about that. How Andy Burnham's vision of Labour still poses a threat to Starmer. Yeah, he's still a threat to them. What's the front of UK saying here? In Britain, you are more vulnerable than you realise, ex-NATO chief warning to UK. Lord Robertson said that the UK should expect face an expanding threat, not only from Russia, but from China, North Korea and Iran as well, it says there. First person says, I was an ICE agent in Minnesota. The Trump team had cranked tensions up to 1,000. So apparently they got an interview with a former ICE agent. We feel betrayed. How reform could capture a socialist heartland. Kanye West apologised for anti-Semitism, denies being a Nazi. Okay, mate. Okay, mate. I've seen your comments. Tories weaponise Braverman. Yep. There's all politics ones there we've always seen. All these stories are old ones here. Weight loss jabs, cost risk. Yep, we've seen these stories before. Painkiller drug shortage hits pharmacies. Yep, we've seen that story before. Summary: the surprising winner from Trump's military adventurisms. The 4 key send questions parents should ask for the 40 support plan revealed. Again, we've seen that story before. Millions of graduates. Yep, those are all old stories again. Water firms will be forced to pass MOTs to stop sewage spills and supply cuts, apparently. Water bosses face being fined from their own pockets for leaks and sewage spills. Yeah, they should do. They should do, but whether they will or not is another question. Britain is building 9 new reservoirs, but it doesn't know how to fill them. Yeah. Let's have a look at the BBC, see what they're saying here. Let me refresh it. Just have a quick see if there's any update here. Mandy, yes, you're not a Mandalorian, says Ellie. But this is the way. This is the way. Ground rents to be capped at £250 a year for leaseholders. This is obviously the big story today. Maybe later. Ground rents paid by leaseholders are to be capped at £250 a year in England and Wales as part of the UK government's plans to make major changes to home ownership. The reforms also include proposals to ban the sale of new leasehold flats and give homeowners greater control of how their buildings are managed. Campaigners fear the government could drop the cap on ground rents. An annual fee leasehold must pay for their freeholders because of potential impact on pension funds. But Labour MP, including former Housing Secretary Angela Rayner, had urged the government to stick to Labour's manifesto promise to tackle unregulated and unaffordable ground rent charges. The reforms have been published in a draft leasehold and common hold reform bill. Announced the capping in a TikTok video, Prime Minister Keir Starmer said the move would save some leaseholders hundreds of pounds. It's really important because the cost of living crisis is the single most important thing across the country, he said. Labour's 2024 election manifesto promised to finally bring the fuel leasehold system to an end. There are around 5 million leasehold homes in England and Wales where people own the right to occupy a property via a lease for a limited number of years from a freeholder. Ground rents were abolished, but for most new residential leasehold properties in England and Wales in 2022, but remained for existing leasehold homes. It is common for a lease to include a clause that ground rent doubles or increases by RPI inflation at fixed intervals, which can make it difficult to sell or get a mortgage or a property. The government says under its reforms, ground rents will ultimately be reduced to a peppercorn, effectively zero after 40 years. Forcibly, whereby leaseholders can lose their home and the equity they built up if they default on a debt as low as £350 will be abolished. The bill will also make it easier for existing leaseholders to convey on common hold, which means occupants jointly own the ground flat is built on, as well as the building without an expiring lease. The bill will now be scrutinised by MPs on the Housing Committee before making its way through Parliament, with the government saying the cap will come into force in late 2028. Treasury sources have previously acknowledged that there were difficulties over where to draw the line over annual ground rent charges. Housing Secretary Steve Reid told the BBC Breakfast that the government reforms struck the right balance in a way that protects people's pensions but also protects leaseholders from unreasonable increases. I wish they would bring down rents for private rentals. That's the main one. Yeah, that's the big problem there, the private rentals there. Phil Jones, 57, bought his 2-bedroom leasehold flat in Westcliff-on-Sea, Essex, 25 years ago. His ground rent doubles every 10 years. It's now at £500 per year. He said it makes his flat unsellable because mortgage companies will not lend on a property without a doubling ground rent clause in his lease. He described the announcement as a huge relief, saying he can now think about selling his property. He was hoping for ground rents to be capped at peppercorn rate and said he was suspicious that the charges will be challenged by the freeholders. Said her ground rent flat for more than 700 has made it difficult to sell on her leasehold in Manchester. She says she and her husband moved to Kent and they would not have any issue selling the Manchester flat. We've now ended up with 2 mortgages which were never the plan and difficult to maintain, she told the BBC. She feels stuck and welcomed the government's leasehold reforms as a positive step. Hopefully it will appease the freeholders and pension funds enough for them not block the courts and appeals, she added. Yeah, this is all well and good. Yeah, I mean it's good stuff, but yeah, the rental sector is the private rental sector is the bigger concern there. Ministers claim sabotage behind Chagos debate delay apparently. Anxiety in Labour as the by-election set to go ahead. Let's check the front of here. Storm Chandra brings flooding and road closures with warnings across the UK. Yep. Tier 4, Carol Kerwick announces she will leave the BBC. Airline pays out millions after initially rejecting claims. Northern Ireland to become the first in the UK to introduce graduated driving licenses. Legal action over unfair Steam game store prices technology given the go-ahead. What's this about? As someone who uses Steam, what is this about? I need to look into this. Valve Corporation will face a $656 million lawsuit in the UK over alleged unfair prices on its global online store Steam, which I use for my games, following tribunal ruling that the case could continue. The gaming giant's been accused of abusing its market dominance by imposing restrictive terms on game publishers and locking players into using Steam. Yeah, this is one thing they definitely... I'm not arguing this at all. Yeah. They definitely own too much of the market. That is definitely true. The legal action was brought up by digital rights campaigner Vicky Shelbot in 2024 on behalf of up to 14 million Stream users across the UK who could be in line for compensation if she wins. Val, which has been contacted for comment, has argued the case should not be certified to process towards a trial. The lawsuit filed at Competition Appeal Tribunal in London alleges that Valve forces game publishers to sign up to conditions which prevent them from selling their titles earlier or for less on rival platforms. Wow. It forces, so basically you sign up to stream, you can't basically go anywhere. That's really sucks. It claims that Valve requires users to buy all additional content through Stream. If they bought the initial game through the platform, it is essentially locking in users to continue making purchases there. This, Ms. Schulper argues, that has enabled Stream to charge an excessive commission of up to 30%, making UK consumers pay too much for purchasing PC games and adult content. Yeah. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I haven't paid for a Stream game for a while. The last thing I bought was last year in August. I bought an add-on for a game that I'm already playing. That's about it. The case is what to be known as collective action claim, which means that one person goes to court on behalf of a much larger group of people. In this instance, it has been brought upon on behalf of up to 40 million people in the United Kingdom who bought games or additional content through Stream and other platforms since 2018. The claim is backed by a legal firm, Melbourne London LLP, which brings group actions against large companies. A separate consumer action case filed in August 2024 has been brought against Valve in the US. Oh, so it's also this is happening against the US as well. Starting out as a developer for award-winning titles such as Half-Life, Valve launched Stream in 2003, which has grown to become the world's largest distribution platform for PC gaming. Absolutely true. According to VG Insights, over 19,000 games were released on the platform in 2025 alone, generating revenue of $11.7 billion. The company's also branched out into creating its own hardware, such as the Steam Deck in 2022, a portable handheld gaming computer that allows users to play Steam games on the go, which I actually have considered wanting to get for myself personally, because I'm greedy, because I am obsessed with it. Mikey, good to see you there. Hope you are doing well. Valve recently announced it was also releasing a new console rival to Nintendo, Xbox, PlayStation, and Steam Machine, designed to allow gamers to play PCs on their TVs as well. Yeah, I'm not interested in Cal Kirkwood, Peter. I'm not really interested in celebrity gossip. That's why I didn't really pay much attention to it personally. We call that a class action lawsuit here, says Mikey Famine. You know, it's weird because I'm not gonna bullshit you guys. I love Steam. I love the games. I love that. I love the all the games that I have up there. I have quite a variety of games on there because of some of the prices that they, especially cheap, especially old school games. They drop them very, very cheap. But you know, I'm not arguing this at all. But I totally understand why they're doing this. But yeah, I can't help myself, guys. Sorry, I am a video game addict, and you know, in comparison to console games, it's much cheaper. It's much cheaper. So, but yeah, I don't like that people are in that situation where they're locked into Steam and they can't get out of it. I do want a portable device. I'm just being greedy now. No, I shouldn't. I've got more important things to be paying, to be fair. I play Stream games on my Xbox One, says Sarah Davis. Yeah, you know, because of the games are so cheap. That's the problem. Like, I have never, it's been like, I remember when I've still got my Xbox One, right? The last time I paid for a game was like 50, 60 quid or something for a game on there, right? The cost for a console game on a PlayStation or an Xbox in comparison to PC is massively different. Like, some PC games, like, you're paying less than £20, and then when they're on deals, sometimes you can get them for a tenner, and that's really, really good deals in comparison. I know people who there are people in the chat who don't want to hear anything about video games and not video games in any way, shape, or form. But I know my video game friends know exactly how I feel about the cost, because I remember there was a time where I didn't pay over the top yet for console games. So yeah. Anyway, got about 6 minutes left, so let's have a quick look at the last few news outlets before we head out. More than 50 Labour MPs. This is Sky News here. Same stories it looks like we got here. Millions to benefit as ministers announces the cap on the scam ground rents. Very deep poverty hits 6.8 million in the UK. Why is no one else talking about this? Very Number of people in very deep poverty at the highest levels in more than 30 years, charity warns. Very deep poverty is defined by the Joseph Rowntree Foundation as earning below 40% of the median household income. According to its latest report, 6.8 million people, almost half of those in poverty, were considered to be at this level. In its latest report, it said data up to the end of 2023-2024 financial year shows that more than 1 in 5 people in the UK, around 14.2 million people, are in poverty. The figure is a slight drop from last year, but the charity said, scratch below the surface, there are signs of change, a definitive deepening of poverty. It noted that in 2023-2024, 6.8 million people, almost half of those in poverty, were considered to be in very deep poverty. The JRF said it is both the highest absolute number and the highest proportion of people in very deep poverty on record since it started tracking government data in 1994 and 1995. So what is the difference between poverty and very deep poverty? While the JRF notes is that there is no single best measure of poverty. Criteria can include relatively income poverty, which holds the line as being though earning through roughly 60% of the median household income. Under this, deep poverty is defined as households earning below 50% of the median income. This is very deep poverty as below 40%. According to the Office of National Statistics, the median household for income in the UK in April 2024 is £36,700. This would mean that poverty would see household incomes at around 22,070 pence, while very deep poverty would be considered as below 14,618. That's, you know, you would consider you would think that that is actually pretty decent money, but it's not. I thought, even I was not earning that much money when I was a store manager. That 36,000. But me and my partner, it pisses me off when I see these numbers. The report calls UK Poverty 2026 to use the latest data up from the end of 2023-2024 financial year, just before Labour won that year's general election. In it, JFK also warned that progress on tackling child poverty from the government removing the two-child benefit cap will likely stall after April if no follow-up measures are announced. While it praised the decision to remove the limit, calling it the single most effective policy decision the government could have taken, the charity also warns that according to the Office of Budget Responsibility projections, the headline poverty rates will remain broadly unchanged at 21.3% in 2026 and 21.1% in 2029. It also says that the Labour's government's child poverty strategy is focused on just one part of the picture. This leaves many other groups with persistently high levels of poverty overlooked. Poverty in the UK is still not just widespread, it is deeper and more damaging than any other point in the last 30 years. When nearly half the people are in poverty and living far below the poverty line, this is a warning sign that the welfare system is failing to protect people from harm, it added. There can be no national renewal if deep poverty remains close to record levels. We understand that too many families are struggling. We're taking decisive action to address poverty by boosting the national living wage by up to £900, cutting energy bills by £150 and launching £1 billion crisis and resilience funds to help households stay afloat. This is like, don't get me wrong, like the cutting of energy bills and boosting the national living wage, this is all well and good, but it's not addressing the fundamental issue here. This is not addressing the fundamental issue that people are struggling to live within their means. We are still in a cost of living crisis. This has not gone away. People think there are still people out there who think there isn't such a thing as a cost of living crisis. People are still struggling out there. As this report acknowledges, scrapping the two-child limit alongside our wider strategy will lift 550,000 children out of poverty by 2030, the biggest reduction in a single parliament since record began. Liberal Democrats work and pension spokesperson Steve Darling also says the report was a disastrous indictment of the previous government's neglect for the most vulnerable in our society. This is a reminder of why you cannot ever have the Conservatives in power. He added, we need immediate action on the cost of living from this government to bring down energy bills, build more affordable homes and end this misery once and for all. And I 100% agree. Right, we're coming close to the mark here. Let's have a quick look at The Guardian before we go. Tax the effing rich, says Mikey Fam. Yeah. The wealthy have too much money. It's happening everywhere. Absolutely. hold on. Let's just have a quick look at UK before we look at the front page there. Leaseholders, yep, we know about the story. Could be a shoe in the stick. Southern Jarvis on being beaten by his father. Petty crime is turning his life around. Burnham will try again for Westminster return. Westminster declines offer as a seat in 2027, apparently there. All those stories we've seen already. Let's have a look at front of UK. Storm Chandra. Facing menu anxiety, Just Eat launches AI chatbot to help pick a food delivery. I don't like that. Can't make your mind up. Let an AI bot make it up for you guys. Mother of a man jailed in Syria for Islamic State links calls for his repatriations to the UK or Canada there. ECHR single sex based guidelines being adopted under constructive due chair. Oh, Christ. Nottingham attack survivor fears repeat if lessons are not learned as well. Let's have a quick look at the front of the Guardian there. Bowman denies. Yep. US Border Patrol commander to leave Minneapolis after shooting of Alex Pretty. Jeffrey Gabarga, aggressive prominent of Trump's deportation agenda, has said to have been stripped of his command at large. Interesting. We'll have to look at that later on today. Deacon Blue, appalled by by Reform UK Scottish leader quoting their song lyrics. Ooh. Disappearing bodies, mass burials, and 3,000 dead. What is the truth over Iran's death toll there as well? Number of US-style battering ram pickup trucks on the UK roads has nearly doubled in a decade as well. So those are the rest of the stories there, guys. Right, I have to leave it there because we are well over time. Let me just have a quick look here before we head out. Someone bought me a new camera fund. Thank you. I don't know who. When it always says someone, I don't ever want to assume who it is. But thank you, whoever bought me the buy me a coffee. Really greatly appreciated. I think it's you, Viper Scott. But again, I don't like to put words in people's mouths. But if it is you, thank you so much. If not, thank you to whoever has sent that buy me a coffee. It's greatly appreciated. Guys, I'll be live again in about 4 hours time at 4 o'clock for Global News. We'll be looking at news from outside the UK. So if you want to join me for that, feel free to do so. So I'll be back live then in a couple of hours time. But thank you guys all for coming along. Thank you guys for all your comments. Also a reminder as well that I will be myself, Van Man Talks, and Daily Blase tomorrow at 8 o'clock on Van Man's YouTube channel as well. Do join us tomorrow for that show as well. If you can't make it to today, later on today, or for that show tomorrow night, I'll be live again tomorrow for another Good Morning show, followed by Prime Minister's Questions tomorrow. So if you guys can join me for any of them, feel free to do so. Well, thank you guys again for giving your time here. I really appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your day, whatever you guys are doing. But on your way out, if you can for me, please, hit that like button, share this across social media, subscribe if you haven't already. Do check out Rumble and Patreon for exclusive content. Do check out some of our other YouTubers, such as the Bin Podcast, who Mikey Famine is here as well. I'm pretty sure they're going to be going live today later on as well. So if you can, do join them later on today as well. Be greatly appreciating. Send some love my way if you can as well. There's lots of other great YouTubers in the description as well. If you actually look down, there's a bunch of great YouTubers worth checking out there as well. So thank you again all so much for watching, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.